How different is How to Train Your Dragon from the book it's based on?
I don't know.
How to Train Your Dragon is a DreamWorks animated movie released in 2010 based off Cressida Cowell's novel with the same title. So let's find out how different the book is to the motion picture.
Let's get started!
Cressida Cowell's novel is set in a fictional Viking world following a young Viking named Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III, who has an extremely Marvel name like Matthew Michael Murdoch, Wade Winston Wilson, and of course, J. Jonah, Jimmy, Jason, Jackson, Jordan, Jasmine, Julian, Josephine, Jessica Jameson, a junior. However, this story has nothing to do with Marvel. Anyway, Hiccup is the son of Stoic the Vast, the chief of the Hairy Hooligans tribe, and is expected to follow in his father's footsteps to become a great warrior and leader. However, this isn't something that the small, quiet, physically weak Hiccup necessarily wants. The story begins with Hiccup and other Viking boys preparing for an initiation test by Gobber the Belch to become members of the Hairy Hooligan tribe. The test involves catching and training a dragon, with Hiccup managing to capture a tiny, toothless dragon, which he names Toothless. The Viking students must have their dragons trained before the Thor's Day, Thursday celebration, but Hiccup struggles to train Toothless using the traditional Viking methods of reading the How to Train Your Dragon book by Professor Yobbish. The book's directions are more aggressive and commanding. However, Hiccup finds that being more gentle and friendly with his dragon, they're able to build a bond. Although, during the celebration, Toothless offends other dragons and a fight breaks out between all the dragons, leading to all the boys failing the initiation. Meanwhile, a huge terrifying dragon known as the Green Death, and an even huger terrifying dragon, threatens to destroy the village and kill the Vikings. Hiccup realizes he must step up, so communicates with the other dragons in the way he did with Toothless and creates a plan. The plan is to have the two enemy dragons fight each other by having the Vikings dragons taunting them to battle. This plan is nearly successful, but while one dragon goes down, Green Death is still alive and now seeks vengeance on Hiccup. The dragon does this by swallowing the boy, so Toothless tries to rescue him, only to be sneezed back out while trying to fly into the bigger dragon's nose. Then as Green Death tries to barbecue all the Vikings, Hiccup blocks the source of fire with the horns of his helmet, causing the dragon to explode and Hiccup to fly out. The young Viking is recognized as a hero, proving that intelligence, empathy, and understanding can be as valuable as strength and bravery. So with that, Stoic the Vast declares his son a member of the Hairy Hooligan tribe, renaming him Hiccup the Useful, which is not a very Marvel name.
What shame!
The movie is set in the Viking village of Berk, where the dragons are considered enemies and are forced to constantly defend themselves against raids by the creatures. Hiccup Horrendous Haddock III is son of Stoic the Vast, the village chief, but is small and not suited to be a warrior, instead creating weapons and devices to defend themselves with the village's blacksmith, Gobber. During a dragon raid, Hiccup uses one of these weapons to shoot down a Night Fury, a rare powerful dragon. Hiccup intends to find it and strike it down to make the village respect him, but he can't bring himself to kill the creature and frees him instead. However, after being shot down, is unable to fly. Hiccup gradually befriends the dragon, naming him Toothless because of his retractable teeth and learning about dragons' behaviors through their interactions. Hiccup uses this knowledge as he and other young Vikings train to defend themselves against dragons, leading to him becoming respected amongst his peers. This makes another dragon training student and Hiccup's crush, Astrid, suspicious, so she follows him to see that Hiccup is bonding with a Night Fury. Initially cautious, Hiccup reassures that dragons are just misunderstood creatures, so the pair take to the sky on Toothless thanks to a mechanical tail fin Hiccup created to help the dragon fly again. However, it's on this trip they discover a dragon's nest where they see the creatures forced to bring food to a massive gargantuan dragon known as the Red Death. That's why dragons have been constantly attacking Berk. Astrid wants to tell the others, but Hiccup is against the idea, fearing Toothless's safety. But his secret is soon revealed when Stoic unintentionally enrages a dragon during Hiccup's final exam, causing it to attack, leading to Toothless saving his friend. Despite his best efforts to tell his father the truth about dragons, Stoic is unwilling to listen and captures Toothless before using him to lead the Vikings to the dragon's nest. It's up to Hiccup, Astrid, and the other young students to stop the Red Death. They arrive at the nest, freeing Toothless and defeating the massive dragon. However, Hiccup is injured in the battle, losing his lower left leg and almost dying, but is saved by Toothless, showing the other Vikings that they really have just misunderstood these creatures all along. The village of Berk is now a place where dragons and Vikings learn to live together in harmony, and Hiccup, now with a prosthetic leg, is celebrated as a hero.
I think the real hero of the day was Toothless.
Isn't that right, bud?
So now let's talk about how similar and different the book is to the movie. While largely inspired by the first of Cressida's books, by the time the movie was released, there were 9 novels in the series, taking little bits of inspiration from each. Starting with the characters, the look and personality of Hiccup is similar from the book to movie, being described as scrawny and shy underdog, learning to grow into a more confident person. In both, he's seen as resourceful, empathetic, and a problem solver, rather than a brawler. However, Hiccup doesn't lose his leg in the book like he does in the movie. He's also 10 years old in the book, but 5 years older in the film. But apart from that, the character is very similar from page to screen. Toothless, on the other hand, is completely different from books to movies. In the novels, he's small, greenish-brown, is a common type of dragon, and is far from being a feared creature. On the other hand, the movie depicts the creature as a rare, powerful night fury, and the most feared dragon of all. Physically, he's large, black, and has the ability to fly at incredible speeds. Really, the only similarity is that they're both named Toothless. Astrid is a character that does not exist in the books. The closest equivalent would be Kamikaze, who first appears in the 3rd novel. However, unlike in the movie where Astrid is a strong, determined character, Kamikaze is much more fierce and impulsive, often rushing into situations without thinking. The movie gives Astrid a central role right from the beginning, even forming a romantic connection with Hiccup. Stoic is portrayed as a strong leader who values strength and bravery and has a complex relationship with his son Hiccup, so this is something that is similar in both mediums. He does have more character development in the movie to become a more loving and caring figure, whereas in the book he's more serious and, dare I say, stoic. Physically, Fishlegs is described as one of the smallest amongst the group, which is the opposite in the film. He also has a closer friendship with Hiccup than what's seen in the movie. Gobber is very similar in the book and movie, being portrayed as a comedic character who acts as the teacher to the young Vikings. However, in the film has a prosthetic arm and leg, which is not present in the books. While the main evil dragon is depicted as large and menacing in the book and movie, their villainous motives are different. Plus, they have a different coloured name. Plot-wise, the book sees training dragons as a rite of passage, rather than the movie's version, which teaches the young Vikings how to defeat a dragon. The idea that Hiccup is more focused on interacting with dragons in his own style, rather than doing what Vikings have always done, is something that carries over. The setting is fairly similar, living in a Viking village, but the dragons are already integrated into society, acting as pets, rather than initially being feared in the movies, before becoming almost like equal partners. One of the biggest differences from page to screen is the fact that dragons can talk in the novel and can be understood by learning the language known as Dragonese. This is a feature not used in the movie, relying more on non-verbal communication. The books are written as a memoir from Hiccup's perspective, which is kind of translated in the movies by having him narrate at the beginning and end of the film.
This is Burke.
While the movie is family friendly, it's targeted to a slightly older audience than the books. Because of the books having a slightly younger audience, the themes and tone are different too, having a lighter tone focusing on friendship, courage, and acceptance, whereas the movie covers deeper themes like sacrifice and identity. Overall, you can see from having read the book, watched the movie, or listened to my summary that there are significant differences, but you can also see the elements the filmmakers were inspired by from Cressida Cowell's novel. However, with all that said, probably the biggest difference from the How to Train Your Dragon book to the movie is that the book has pages, while the movie has moving images with sound. But like I always say, books are just movies that haven't been made yet.
True.
Hey, you want to hear some fun facts about How to Train Your Dragon?
Yes.
Here are some fun facts about How to Train Your Dragon. The popularity of the movie saw a spike in the adoption of black cats who went on to be named Toothless.
Oh, okay.
Charlotte Dujardin used the music from the movie in the dressage freestyle at the 2014 FEI Dressage World Cup, and it worked because they won, breaking their own world record score. The hesitation Toothless shows when Hiccup is trying to touch him is actually an animation mistake, but was kept in because the animators thought it was perfect for the scene. The look of Toothless was inspired by cats, dogs, horses, and a giant salamander. The face is also believed to be based on Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, which now that I say that, I can't unsee the similarities. But it makes sense considering Chris Sanders and Dean DeBlois directed both How to Train Your Dragon and Lilo and Stitch. When Hiccup, Astrid, and Toothless are flying to the dragon's nest, one of the dragons is holding Gloria from Madagascar.
Does anybody feel nauseous?
Gobber is seen with 14 different hand attachments throughout the film.
Mind the fort, Hiccup. They need me out there.
Most of the flying scenes were inspired by combat and aerobatic aircraft flight maneuvers such as loops and snap rolls.
That's my fault.
The sound of Toothless is created using noises from elephant seals, elephants, horses, tigers, and domestic cats. How to Train Your Dragon is DreamWorks Animation's 20th film, but the first to have the main protagonist be a teenager.
I ordered an extra large boy with beefy arms.
How to Train Your Dragon author Cressida Cowell stated that she loved the movie. She thought the flying scenes were breathtaking and better than the ones in James Cameron's Avatar.
Alright, I admit it. This is pretty cool.
Cressida had multiple studios asking to adapt her book into a movie or TV show, but it wasn't until DreamWorks approached her where she felt comfortable to take the risk.
You were wise to seek help from the world's most deadly weapon.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what your favourite How to Train Your Dragon book or movie is. And don't forget to absolutely obliterate that like, subscribe and share button. I'm just kidding. Only do it with enough force that it registers. I don't want any of you breaking whatever device you're watching this on.